everyone. A very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. Myself, Vaibhav. In today's session of Market Movers, we will be looking for the trading opportunities in USDJPY, which is on a verge of a major breakout. And we will be looking for trading opportunities to exploit the situation to our advantage. The start to today's US session was more volatile than usual, with sharp moves seen across the asset classes such as equities, currencies, and commodities included. I don't cover the fixed income instruments, so I don't have an idea on how much the yields on Treasury moved, if any. The Dow is sitting pretty at the top, closer to the levels of 35,400. In today's session, it has moved much, still not moved much, as volatility has lacked directional momentum, and it is simply consolidating in the shadows of all-time high reached recently. For our trading ideas, the instrument of choice for the day are going to be USDJPY and the light crude oil, in which the profitable trading opportunities are arising with a good enough risk reward ratio. For the US session, the only data release of consequences are housing sales and Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index. Earlier in the day, there were not many economic releases which we need to pay attention to, apart from the Germany's GDP growth numbers. The Germany's GDP growth is the final estimate for the second quarter, that is the quarter ended June 2021. The GDP growth has been confirmed at 1.6% in terms of quarter on quarter and 9.4% in terms of year on year for the quarter ended June. Here, I think the percent sign is missing, so pardon me on that count. For US, we saw new home sales rising 1% in terms of month on month in the month of July to the total units sold at 708,000. The Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index is down substantially to 9 in the month of August from the earlier reading of 27 in the prior month of July. The severity of decline can be gauged from the fact that it is in the lowest zone for almost a year now. Now let's see what's happening in the technicals. We will consider the trading opportunities as I said earlier also in USDJPY, which is the instrument of choice amongst all the currencies, and that's simply because there is a rising probability of a bearish breakout, and we will be trying to capitalize on that. On the commodity side, the sharp moves which we have seen in the light crude in recent past are indicative of a possible turnaround on the bullish side, and also we have the inventory data due later in the day from the API, and in tomorrow's session we will be getting the US Energy Administration's inventory data also. So we can expect plenty of volatile momentum in the light crude oil, and that can help us to make profit. Let's start the day with USD technical outlook. This is the daily time frame chart, and as you can see from this high form in last couple of consolidation days, but on most of these days the closing has happened on the lower side. Even if the days high were above 110, we saw all the days closing happening below 110. That means the 110 level has been the resistance in near term, and unless and until we were to see a sustained momentum beyond that, we couldn't have expected the continuation of the bullishness in USDJPY, and that's what we are observing in recent past. Now, in today's session, we are seeing substantial downward momentum generating and pushing the USDJPY even below 109.5 at one point in time. Now it has regained some lost ground, and after retracement, I think it is probable that it will resume its slide, and in course of time 109 level can be reached, which was also the target for USD given in the yesterday's session. So that target still stands good, and in today's session even after this volatility. I think the levels haven't changed much. But of course, if now we want to get involved for a new trade, we will have to short it on the lower side compared to the entry which we might have got in yesterday's session or even in earlier part of today's session. Now we have the USDJPY price action unfolding closer to the 109.5 level. So we will have to try to get involved in this price range. On the higher side, we have had this central pivot point of this month's pivot point series acting as a major resistance, and that has stalled the USDJPY upward momentum this time around also. I'm not really expecting any sustained bullish momentum pushing the USD above it. Rather than that, the month is likely to pass below the crucial resistance for USD JPY, and it will be better for us to start looking for the opportunities to go short. If we consider the optimum entry point for getting involved for getting a new trade in USDJPY, we will have to rely on these convergence of three SMAs. We have these three SMAs 50, 100, and 200 SMAs converging closer to 109.8, and that's where I think the major resistance is. In earlier hours of today's trading session, we had the reversal happening closer to this zone, and even after the start of US trading session, we had this sharp move which started closer to this convergence range. So I think keeping all these factors in mind, we can try to get involved for a new entry as close as possible to this convergence area, and the stop loss can be kept little above the day's high, so that should be good enough here. For any entry in the price band of 109.7 to 109.8, we can keep the stop loss little above 109.9, so that will entail the risk of around 20 pips, and on the lower side we can expect a move towards 109, and even if it doesn't really go that far, all we need is a risk reward ratio of 1 is to 2, and for a risk of 20 pips, the bare minimum reward which we will seek is going to be 40 pips. So we will have to keep the target price at least closer to 19.3, and that looks quite possible given the fact that we had a sharp move in today's session itself, in which the USD JPY had gone as far as 109.4. So from there on, a new swing low formation is not really a tough task for USD JPY. Now let's see what's happening in the commodity space, where the instrument of choice is light crude oil. This is the daily time frame chart, and here after making a low closer to the 61 level, which was also the prior historical swing low, we have seen these significant turnarounds in light crude oil prices, and it has gained substantially. I am not precise here, but on the back of the envelope calculation, it looks like 7 to 8% gain in two trading sessions for the light crude oil, and even in today's session the momentum remains strong. So all we need to do is keep looking for buying opportunities, and if there aren't any, it will be better to sit on the sidelines rather than trying to go for any short sale trades in the light crude oil. For the lower time formation, we have these first support of this month's pivot point series, which is likely to act as a minor resistance in light crude oil's upward trajectory. We also have this consolidation lows, so taken together, these are the levels which we need to watch out for and allow the light crude oil to consolidate closer to this price band. As long as light crude oil is holding well above the levels of $65, the outlook remains strong for the light crude oil, and this time around, after due consolidation, it might even be able to break above this first support and eventually go on to cross the price level of 70 per barrel. And in that case, if you want to optimize the entry and exit point for trading in light crude oil, we can take help of this prior swing low, and along with that, we can also rely on this convergence of 50 and 100 SMAs. These two SMAs are converging closer to the price zone of around 64.5 USD per barrel. Right now, that's almost 3 percentage point away, or even more than 3 percentage point away. So we will need some sort of correction and then consolidation before we can really get involved for a new trade in the light crude oil. If we see that today's closing happens well above this 200 SMA, and by the time US trading sessions start, if we have similar kind of sentiment fueling, then we can indeed think about going in for a higher price in light crude oil. But for that, today is not the session to take that risk. Rather than that, if you want to get involved for a trade in today's session, it will be better to allow the light crude oil to correct somewhat, and after that, try to go for a new trade while keeping in mind the stop loss and target price level, and a requirement of minimum risk reward ratio of at least 1 is to 2. So that's my take looking at the current price formation of the light crude oil. If any of you have any query or any idea to share, you can write to me in the feedback section, and I would be more than happy to take the discussion forward. Before I sign off, I would also like to remind of the risk associated with trading in the financial instrument, and one should be careful while using the information provided. For further coverage of the market developments, you can check out the Lucascope Analytics page. Whenever you want to start